On the news, we look at Nigeria's journey so far, 61 years post-independence. Federal government reviews public service rules after 13 years. And NPHCDA recommends vaccine for pregnant women. Glad to have you join us on News Now. I am Mary Kanu. A lot has happened since Nigeria gained its independence in 1960. It's been a remarkable journey of 61 years post-independence with numerous achievements, substantial progress and also shortcomings. In this next report, our correspondent looks down the long road in the areas of politics, governance and security.
Since independence, Nigeria has tested 3 systems of government: parliamentary, military and the presidential. After a civil war, a truncated civilian government and successive military administrations that eventually culminated in the transition to civilian rule in 1999, democracy has come to be accepted as the country's form of government. But over the years, how well has Nigeria fared in terms of leadership?
We might look at the fact that we have about 21 years of unbroken democracy. This is the first time in the history of this country. So maybe people can make that argument and say we seem to be getting right politically, even though the fruits of what we are seeing in terms of governance, we have not yet seen it. But perhaps if we continue along that trajectory without military intervention in our political affairs, perhaps we might begin to make progress.
There's the issue of rule of law and the effectiveness of the rule of law in terms of how we relate to each other. So across the board, you can say Nigeria is not doing exceptionally well, can greatly improve, but it's not an awful place that other people want us to believe it's in.
In recent years, the unity of Nigeria has come under serious threat. Calls for cessation championed by Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, and Yoruba Nation agitator Sunday Adeyemo, also known as Sunday Igboho, has gained momentum in both the southeast and southwest regions. Amid the increasing agitations, experts say this is an indication of the slow progress the country has made over the years.
That cohesion that a country needs for growth and development is no longer there. People today are beginning to look more at their ethnic enclaves, their geopolitical zones, for succor and for hope rather than the nation. Nobody who understands what a nation should be will be happy with the state of things.
As the nation marks another milestone in its existence, it is still struggling with the issue of security, which includes the ongoing decade-long battle with insurgent group Boko Haram and more recently banditry and kidnapping in most parts of the country. Experts trace the current situation back to the 1960s.
If we start from what caused the 1966 coup, shall we summarize, would include issues around nepotism, alleged nepotism of course, and then corruption. If a couple of years down the road, some of these issues are still facing us. Under the military, as an example, the military's ability to take decisions and to move quickly in terms of quelling some issues that would affect the nation has been quite well documented. So I'll give you an example. In the Northeast, under the present, President Buhari, there were criminals who would come into the country, block highways, and kill Nigerians. It became such a huge issue that the military mobilized, and in a very short time they were able to deal with it. Another example is the uprising, Islamic that was at that time called Metasini. The way the military mobilized and dealt with that too was legendary. However, because of the suppression of the freedom of speech and other rights that were suppressed under the military, they gave rise to certain challenges that is currently affecting the country.
This year's celebration comes amid a lingering doctor strike, brain drain in the health sector and massive emigration.
The country seems to be retrogressing rather than progressing. The leadership is a disappointment.
There's no job, nothing is working, everything is down. So 61 years is just a number.
I want to trust in the tenacity and the willpower of the Nigerians who like to survive under terrible conditions, they always come out strong, that will get out of this trouble and we'll all rejoice.
We are supposed to be jubilating that Nigeria has gotten to a retirement age, which is 60, 61, and now say you have to sit back, watch what you have labored for, and be feeling at home. But unfortunately, we are still in the process. But we'll get there because of the level of development we are seeing recently.
Despite the challenges, the country has recorded some progress since 1960. It's now the largest economy on the continent by GDP, and democracy continues to hold firm. The country has had unbroken democratic governance for 22 years now.
All the critical economic indicators and developmental indicators are likely in the right direction. What is most challenging is the character that Nigerians have evolved over the years of being very, very self-focused rather than collectively focused, of being judgmental rather than seeking improvement, of having zero defect mentality, that we focus on the defects rather than the improvement, and the fact that we confess the worst things for ourselves.
Analysts say despite the country's challenges, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and the success of the Nigerian dream lies in the hands of all citizens.
Nigeria has not fallen far behind that we cannot recover it, but it will need concerted effort by everybody, especially the political elites in this country.
After a bright start post-independence, followed by a difficult middle period, the great unknown lies ahead for Nigeria. But for now, things are holding up for Africa's most populous country. Oyin Adekunle, TV360, Nigeria.
As Nigeria celebrates its 61st independence anniversary, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has advised Nigerians to summon the courage, energy and political will to face problems confronting the country. Sanwo-Olu gave the charge while presenting a paper at the 83rd anniversary of Ikoyi Club 1938 on Wednesday. The governor also assured that his administration is committed to continuity of good governance.
It will be another opportunity for us as a nation to reflect on our past, our present, and indeed our future. A complex and complicated past, like many other countries, a challenging present, and if I dare say so, again, like many others, and a future that we all look forward to with hope and great optimism. What is important is that we must constantly summon the energy and the political will to face our problems head-on and to address them squarely. We can and also must learn from the past of others to guide our present and to create a future that is even better than what we can envision. Without the past, there will be nothing to build on. When we are done with our own service, we will hand over the baton to the next set of leaders to continue from where we stop.
The Federal Executive Council has approved the review of the public service rules, which has been in use since 2008. During the cabinet meeting chaired by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, the council also approved contracts to the tune of almost 4 billion naira in the Education Ministry, as well as the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy. Our correspondent Abisola Adebayo has the details.
Nigeria's Public Service Rules, PSR, has received a new boost 13 years after it was last revised in 2008. The new PSR, according to the Head of Service of the Federation, Folashade Yemieson, was achieved with the help of stakeholders' engagements. Yemieson says in the new Public Service Rules, fathers can now enjoy 14 days of paternity leave to bond with their sons.
The man is entitled to paternity leave of about 14 days. It's important because we want the young children and the youth really to bond properly with their fathers, just as they bond well with their mothers, especially at the early stages.
The Head of Service of the Federation further explained that the PSR 2021 also took into consideration the need for training for public servants, adding that a new chapter permitting virtual meetings was also included.
The chapter on training. This is an all-important chapter because of the importance that training has in the public service. We also have a new chapter on virtual meetings. We have accepted virtual meetings as a tool to be used in service now, and there are some guidelines there.
The highest decision-making body of the executive arm of government during the meeting also approved the sum of 3.11 billion naira for contracting the Ministries of Education and Communications and Digital Economy.
The federal government is making available to the Nnamdi Azikiwe University the sum of 2.1 billion naira to augment the contract which they awarded between 2007 and 2015, which they were unable to complete. Honorable Minister of Communication presented the memo today, and that memo was to seek Council's approval for the award of contract for the provision of project management services for the implementation of the local area network.
This is the second Federal Executive Council meeting chaired by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo since President Muhammadu Buhari left the country to participate in the 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly. And although President Buhari is back in the country, he is currently observing COVID-19 quarantine measures. Abisola Adibayo, TV360 News.
The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has zoned the position of its national chairman to the north. In a communique issued on Thursday by the chairman of the zoning committee and governor of Enugu State, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, after a meeting in Abuja, the committee resolved that the north and the south should swap current party positions. This means the chairman will come from the north, while the national secretary will come from the south, among other changes. Ugwuanyi, however, said the mandate of the committee does not include zoning of the offices of the president, vice president, as well as other executive and legislative offices in the country. The Court of Appeal in Abuja has joined the Lagos State government as a party to the appeal on the value-added tax VAT collection legal battle between Rivers State government and the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS. The FIRS had appealed the judgment of the Federal High Court in Port Harcourt, which empowered the Rivers State government to collect VAT. Lagos State had neither to apply to be joined as a party to the appeal because it was not part of the case at the Federal High Court, which led to the judgment being contested by the FIRS. Delivering ruling on Thursday, Justice Haruna Samani held that Lagos State has been able to prove that it has a direct interest in the subject matter of the appeal and ordered the FIRS and the Rivers State government to serve all the processes in the suit on Lagos State. Well, let's take a break here, but still to come, Ethiopia expels 7 top UN officials for alleged meddling. We'll bring you details of that and more after this break. Glad to have you back. Well, here's a quick reminder of some of our top stories tonight. As Nigeria celebrates its 61st independence anniversary, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has advised Nigerians to summon the courage, energy and political will to face problems confronting the country. Sanwo-Olu, while presenting a paper at the 83rd anniversary of Ikoyi Club 1938 on Wednesday, also assured that his administration is committed to continuity of good governance. We also told you that the People's Democratic Party has zoned the position of its national chairman to the north. In a communique issued on Thursday by the chairman of the committee and governor of Enugu State, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, after a meeting in Abuja, the committee resolved that the north and the south should swap current party positions. Well, in case you missed any of our news bulletin or for more updates, to log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube and Google Plus at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. The National Primary Healthcare Development Agency has recommended that pregnant and lactating women should receive COVID-19 vaccine. Executive Director of the agency, Faisal Shuaib, who made this statement during an interview on Thursday, said pregnancy testing is not a requirement for receiving any of the approved COVID-19 vaccines by the World Health Organization, while encouraging obstetricians and gynecologists to lead by example by getting vaccinated. Shuaib said a conversation with a clinician may be helpful before a pregnant woman gets vaccinated, but is not a requirement for vaccination. Well, we'll take a break and return with business, international and sports stories. Stay with us.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
And wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the Go-To app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other Paper Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
Welcome back. Well, up next is business news and stock market review with Folashade Ogunride.
Well, thank you very much, Mary. And in business, the National Union of Charcoal Exporters of Nigeria has appealed to the federal government to lift the ban on charcoal exports. The leadership of the national president of the union made the appeal during the second stakeholders meeting on the establishment of Charcoal Apex National Umbrella Body held in Abuja. Our correspondent, Mary Kanu, has the details.
In a bid to address the issue of deforestation in Nigeria, the federal government officially banned charcoal export in 2017, saying charcoal production is destructive to the environment. The government banned wood and charcoal exportation following exporters' refusal to adhere to the directive of Cut 1, Plant 2 policy. Many months later, the National Union of Charcoal Exporters of Nigeria say they are ready to adhere to the federal government's policy on preventing deforestation.
Charcoal stakeholders are not only cutting trees, we are planting trees, replanting trees, and have agenda to complement the efforts of government in the development and promotion of tree growing in the country. We assure you that we have passion for afforestation, and by the time the Apex body became operational in the country, our activities will improve in statistic, tree growing, utilization, forest support management, because research have shown it and has it proving with evidence that any charcoal-dependent countries must have forest cover time to time, which is the desire of the government.
As of 2020, Nigeria produced 4.8 million metric tons of global charcoal production. With the figures from the global export earnings in charcoal, the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment says it is willing to harness the potential of the subsector.
Charcoal exports contributes significantly to the Nigerian economy. It generates foreign exchange, great employment, and wealth. However, it is worrisome to note that the fortunes of the industry, which was one of the foreign exchange earners for the country, has dwindled in recent times due to suspension of charcoal export and deforestation issues associated with the subsector. The ministry is fully committed to providing the enabling environment that will reposition the charcoal business to compete favorably both in local and international markets. To this end, the Ministry is building strong synergy with relevant MDAs.
Despite the government's ban, Nigeria takes the front burner as the largest global exporter of charcoal in Africa, recording over $75.7 million in earnings in 2019 alone. Given the huge revenue generated from charcoal exportation and the diversification agenda of the federal government, lifting the ban on charcoal export will complement the government's efforts to boost the economy. Mary Kanu, TV360, Nigeria.
We'll take a breather here and return with a review of the stock markets. Just stay with us. If you were impressed with today's trading session, I can completely agree with you. Investors made over 655.89 billion naira in profits at the end of today's trading session. All trading indexes flagged a bold green color as all share index closed in the greens at 1.59%. Now, the NGX market activity reported positive activities. Volumes and trade and value of trade saw a rise from last session's performance as over 1.046 billion volume of shares valued at 7.420 billion naira exchange hands in 3,752 deals, or 25 deals rather. Now, analysts say the positive trade is connected to assets managers trying to close their books on a good note for the end of the quarter. Now, let's see equities that recorded a profit as well as those who were on the laggards table. University Press PLC and Pharmadeco PLC reported a combined profits margin of 32 kobo. Now, these equities led 19 gainers on the winners table. Now, despite Thursday's good performance, some equities still made it to the laggards table. 13 losers led by Charms PLC and Axon Mansard Insurance PLC reported a combined loss of 12 kobo. Now, away from the NGX, let's see how the foreign markets performed, shall we? Now, sadly, it's all reds across the US, UK and Japan stocks. FTSE dipped to the red at 0.31% as interest rates worry GDP figures. For Dow Jones, investors remain on edge over whether US lawmakers will vote to suspend the debt ceiling to avoid a credit default. Now, trading at the US stocks ended in the reds at 1.26%. Now, for Nikkei, we're seeing the same performance, of course, still in the reds at 0.31%. I need to wrap on the business segment of news now. Back to Mary for the rest of the news.
Well, thank you for that update, Folashade. And on the foreign scene, Ethiopia's government has ordered the expulsion of 7 senior United Nations officials from the country for meddling in its internal affairs. The move on Thursday came as humanitarian workers have been sounding the alarm about limited access to the embattled Tigray region, which has been racked by conflict for nearly 11 months. A statement by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs on Thursday revealed the 7 officials, who include individuals from the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, and United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, have been declared persona non grata and given 72 hours to leave the country. Well, up next is Entertainment Report.
Reality star Mercy AK has announced a brand new self-themed reality show, Mercy What Next, coming to the screens by October. Mercy unveiled the new series, which will be a second since winning Big Brother Naija. Premiering exclusively on DSTV, Mercy What Next is set to let fans in on the reality star's life post breaking out from the Big Brother Naija house. Recall that shortly after winning the series, AK unveiled a reality show alongside her ex-boyfriend Ike. The show tagged Mercy and Ike explore the estranged couple's life after meeting on the show, including dealing with their families and their newly found fame. Zoologic Entertainment, Lord Tanner Studios and App and Bow Studios is set for the cinema release of the movie Hide and Seek across all Nigerian cinemas on Independence Day. Hide and Seek is a crime thriller drama that tells the story of a Robin Hood-like attempt to stop a corrupt public servant of high designation from embezzling public funds. The film stars Kunle Remi in the lead role, complemented by Ifa Ewara, Kiki Omeli, Uche Montana, Akanani, Bimbo Ademoye, amongst others. And that is all that we have for you in the entertainment segment of News Now.
And now in sports, Super Eagles head coach Kenneth Rowe has invited 23 players without regular midfielders Wilfred Ndidi and Ogenekaru Etebo for the 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifiers double-header against the Central African Republic. Nigeria will host the Central African Republic in a match day 3 fixture at the Teslim Balogun Stadium, Lagos on Thursday, October 7th, while the reverse tie will take place in Douala on October 10th. The Eagles are top of Group C of the African World Cup qualifiers with 6 points from their first 2 games, and victory in both games will guarantee the team passage to the all-important knockout round scheduled for March 2022, which will produce Africa's 5 flag bearers in Qatar. Well, that's the size of our bulletin at this time. Thank you for watching. I am Mary Kanu. Bye for now.